This slot machine is called Daylight and Darkness, D&D for short. I like that one kind of. A little bit too anime for me, but there's my hero Davok, the Age of Conan. I like to read. It's good for me to do it out loud. I don't read much anymore, so this gets me reading every day. And it's easy to make a video while I'm playing online games. I found a Conan the Barbarian cartoon from 92 or 93. It's atrocious. Completely unwatchable, and it doesn't even look like Conan. And then I found Alric of Melnibone. Melnibone is how I like to say it. Audiobook on YouTube. It's pretty good. I like Alric. I made a great comic book of him in '85, a graphic novel. I wish I had it. I think my brother does. I like to talk before I read. It gets me warmed up. And I don't care. I make these videos for me. I don't do it for anyone else. No one watches my videos anyway, so I don't care. But I really do enjoy reading. So, sorry you have to suffer with me, but I suffer every day. Trying to make a living as an artist is not easy. The Scarlet Citadel, page 71. He tried to bend to them, but the chain was too short, almost suffocated by the mad pounding of his heart. He slipped one foot from its sandal and gripped them with his toes. Drawing his foot up, he grasped them fiercely, barely stifling the yell of ferocious exultation that rose instinctively to his lips. Melnibone. I can't say that word. Melnibone. 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 An instant's fumbling with the huge locks, and he was free. He caught up the fallen sword and glared about. Only empty darkness met his eyes, into which the serpent had dragged a mangled, tattered object that only faintly resembled a human body. Oh yeah, and I saw the video of the Conan the Barbarian stage show at Universal Studios. You can find that on YouTube. I was impressed. They did a fairly decent job. Of course, there was no copulation. But what can you do? And no nudity. Jeez. That's what Conan is all about. Conan turned to the open door. A few quick strides brought him to the threshold. A squeal of high-pitched laughter shrilled through the vaults, and the grill shot home under his very fingers. The bolt crashed down. Through the bars peered a face like a fiendishly mocking carven gargoyle. Shukeli, the eunuch, who had followed his stolen keys. Surely he did not, in his gloating, see the sword in the prisoner's hand. With a terrible curse, Conan struck as a cobra strikes. The great blade hissed between the bars, and Shukeli's laughter broke in a death scream. The fat eunuch bent at the middle, as if bowing to his killer, and crumpled like tallow, his pudgy hands clutching vainly at his spilling entrails. And yeah, if you don't like my videos, why are you watching them? I don't know why. I plan on laying down and sleeping and listening to the playlist for days when I get through with this. Conan snarled in satisfaction, but he was still a prisoner. His keys were futile against the bolt, which could be worked only from the outside. His experienced touch told him the bars were hard as a sword. An attempt to hew his way to freedom would only splinter his one weapon. Yet he found dents on those adamantine bars, like the marks of incredible fangs, and wondered with an involuntary shudder what nameless monsters had assailed the barrier so terribly. Regardless, there was but one thing for him to do, and that was to seek some other outlet. Taking the torch from the niche, he set off down the corridor, sword in hand. He saw no sign of the serpent or its victim, only a great smear of blood on the stone floor. Darkness stalked on noiseless feet about him, scarcely driven back by his flickering torch. On either hand he saw dark openings, but he kept to the main corridor, watching the floor ahead of him carefully, lest he fall into some pit. And suddenly he heard the sound of a woman weeping piteously. Another of Satha's victims, he thought, cursing the wizard anew. Again, like, what the hell is he saying? Cursing the wizard. That motherfucker. Yeah, and it continues from there. Yeah. I would say all the words, but YouTube wouldn't be happy. And turning aside, followed the sound down a smaller tunnel, dank and damp. You can swear on YouTube. It just gets into trouble when you try and monetize the videos and there's lots of swearing. I think that's the problem. Don't want to upset the advertisers. Advertising is designed to make you unhappy. Content is designed to make you happy. The weeping grew nearer as he advanced and lifting his torch. In other words, advertisers are mind trucking you. The weeping grew nearer as he advanced, but it's okay for them. The weeping grew nearer as he advanced, and lifting his torch, he made out a vague shape in the shadows. Stepping closer, he halted in sudden horror at the anthropomorphic bulk which sprawled before him. Its unstable outlines somewhat suggested an octopus, but its malformed tentacles were too short for its size, and its substance was a quaking, jelly-like stuff which made him physically sick to look at. From among this loathsome, gelid mass reared up a frog-like head, and he was frozen with nauseated horror to realize that the sound of weeping was coming from those obscene, blubbery lips. The noise changed to an abominable, high-pitched tittering as the great, unstable eyes of the monstrosity rested on him, and it hitched its quaking bulk toward him. He backed away and fled up the tunnel, not trusting his sword. The creature might be composed of terrestrial matter, but it shook his very soul to look upon it, and he doubted the power of man-made weapons to harm it. For a short distance he heard it flopping and floundering after him, screaming with horrible laughter. The unmistakably human note in its mirth almost staggered his reason. It was exactly such laughter as he had heard bubble obscenely from the fat lips of the salacious women of Shadowzar, city of wickedness, when captive girls were stripped naked. See, this is what I like. When captive girls were stripped naked on the public auction block. Yeah, selling slave girls. There's lots of pictures like that on the web. If you type in Conan slave girls, you'll get a whole bunch of them. Be sure and turn off that filter. I don't like being edited. Conan felt vaguely that he had looked on blasphemy against the eternal laws of nature. By what hellish arts had... That's from the fat lips of the salacious women of Shadowzar, city of wickedness, when captive girls were stripped naked on the public auction block. By what hellish arts had Satha brought this unnatural being into life? Conan felt vaguely that he had looked on blasphemy against the eternal laws of nature. He ran toward the main corridor, but before he reached it, he crossed a sort of small square chamber where two tunnels crossed. As he reached this chamber, he was flashingly aware of some small squat bulk on the floor ahead of him. Then before he could check his flight or swerve aside, his foot struck something yielding that squalled shrilly, and he was precipitated headlong, the torch flying from his hand and being extinguished as it struck the stone floor. Half stunned by his fall, Conan rose and groped in the darkness. His sense of direction was confused, and he was unable to decide in which direction lay the main corridor. He did not look for the torch, as he had no means of rekindling it. His groping hands found the openings of the tunnels, and he chose one at random. How long he traversed it in utter darkness, he never knew, but suddenly his barbarian's instinct of near peril halted him short. Well, that's it for today. Thanks for bearing with me. I'm having fun, so why else would I do this?